Welcome to the weekend edition of the Nightly Nuge. And Ted, yesterday we were talking about the woke culture and how it's going to impact artists like yours. I do have some questions I want to ask you about spring hunting, but did you not chuckle when you saw your buddy Kid Rock with the machine gun shooting the wall of Bud Light bottles of beer? I mean, I laughed just out loud.
Well, you got to admit, I think I raised the young man properly. There is only one Motor City Madman, but he could certainly qualify as the Motor City Madman Jr. He lives by a true north compass setting. Kid Rock, Bob Ritchie's a good friend of mine. We've done a lot of jamming together. We've done a lot of bows and arrows together. We've done a lot of talk and a lot of texting back and forth. He's a good, solid asset column resident of the United States of America. He works really hard, has that great Detroit American, gladiator work ethic. He raises his family properly, and he has alluded many times that this may be one of his very last tours this year, because as a grandfather, he has that same impulse and instinct to guide and nurture and educate and help bring up our grandchildren. So that's what I'm dedicating to do. But yeah, it was a very fun moment when I watched my buddy Kid Rock unleash his MP5 with a brass rainbow unleashing of 9mm ammo into the Anheuser-Busch idiot, punk-ass, anti-American, woke, Democrat supporting evil over good entity that Anheuser-Busch has now turned into. And isn't it glorious that what Kid Rock represented and what I've represented in all the interviews since, and all of our actions since, is that the Budweiser demographic, who I love these people. Again, I thought you were anti-alcohol. No, I'm anti-drooling. I'm anti-drunk. I'm anti-drunk driving. I'm anti-throwing up. I'm anti-hangover. I think a beer is a far superior beverage than a sugary soda. I've always said that going back into the late 60s. Not my late 60s, the late 1960s. So we have seen a response by the consumer out there raising that loud and proud flame-throwing middle finger to Anheuser-Busch. Kiss my free ass, because we're not supporting, just like Nike and Jack Daniels, supporting the desecration of womanhood, supporting the abuse of our female friends out there by allowing some freak, some mentally deranged sicko who thinks he's a woman or wants to dress like a woman or wants to destroy women's athletic records. These
Crazy.
Are evil, rotten people. And anybody that supports these evil, rotten people are also evil, rotten people. So send a message to Anheuser-Busch and Jack Daniels and Nike and Tractor Supply. We're not spending our hard-earned money with you people anymore until you find the true north compass and get back with the morals and the quality of life that we demand, because those people are the enemies of the American dream, and they're literally pissing in the face of their consumers, and I, for one, will not stand for it.
Now, I want to get your take on some tips and things that your fellow hunters might want to be thinking about as we approach this spring, and actually in this spring turkey season. There's a lot of turkeys already going down. I've was down with Kevin Pritchett and his brother Mike down in Florida, and I know you've been hunting, and I do want to get your take on some tips to get ready for the spring. But I got to ask one more question. Did you see the picture of President Trump at the MMA event with Mike Tyson and Kid Rock? And they were all chanting USA, USA when they walked in there. And the left is they're beside themselves that President Trump, one, would be at such an event and hang around with such characters. So give me your last take on that picture, and then tell us some spring tips to get us ready for hunting.
Well, certainly good people align themselves with good people. And Mike Tyson has had his ups and downs, but he's turned into really a sensible guy. Kid Rock is a really true North Compass warrior in the arena of working hard, playing hard America. And President Trump represents the best families in America. God, family, country, Constitution, Bill of Rights, Ten Commandments, Golden Rule, Declaration of Independence, law and order, good over evil. All that controversial stuff was epitomized by that gang that went to that event. And I salute them all. They're all good friends of mine, and I think that sent a message. And whenever you can make evil people squirm, you're doing God's work. So hallelujah for doing God's work and making the Michael Moore fan club piss themselves. Of course, they don't need any inspiration. I think that's his standard operating procedure. I think they've got an Olympic-sized down-filled comforter that Michael Moore and General Mark Milley uses as a tampon, I believe. I think Mike Tyson is going to get a petrified hickory pool cue and get an Olympic-sized downfilled comforter and ramrod it up their ass and turn it into a shit wick. Can you say that on the nightly news?
I think we can. My
point is,
Jim is shaking his head, but I like it.
it's springtime. It's springtime, and we're catching bass and bluegills and crappie. We're turkey hunting here in Texas. We can squirrel hunt in the springtime. We keep squirrel hunting. Happy Sadie and Coco just love to catch a squirrel. And the turkey hunting is fantastic. There's more turkeys in North America than ever in recorded history. There's been some sliding populations here, there, and a few other places, but for the most part, turkey season in the United States of America is a great springtime celebration. And of course, bear hunting all across Canada and up in Alaska and places like Idaho and I believe Montana. There's some states that still have a spring season, as they should, but there's a lot of bear hunting opportunities. We're literally wrapping up some of the cougar seasons across the West. So there's a lot of opportunities out there. And as you mentioned, Keith, what do we do to gear up for spring hunting season? I don't gear up for squat. I have a new song on the Detroit Muscle record called Winter, Spring, Summer, Fall. And in winter, spring, summer, and fall, I hunt. I hunt hogs. I've killed a bunch of hogs with my buddies in South Texas, a bunch of hogs right here. It's just a riot with the bow and arrow, the rifle, or the handgun, or the shotgun. So there's unlimited opportunities in the great outdoors. And more important than all the harvesting that should take place in the springtime is the spring instinct to renew, to plant. The Nugent family have always planted trees, coniferous, deciduous fruit trees, winter thermal cover coniferous trees. So now is the time to plant. We've got food plots in all across our properties in Michigan and Texas. There's an orgy of springtime food plot planting going on by conservation families across this nation. So a big salute to all of them. But never forget, in these treacherous, painful, ugly, very trying, difficult times in the United States of America, as our country is being run by horrible satanic forces under the Joe Biden gangster regime, Mother Nature heals. Get out there. Grab a fistful of earth and snort it like you mean it. Become one with the great spirit of the wild. Plant a tree, even if you don't own property. Go to a national forest or a park. I always planted trees in the springtime and autumn olive bushes. A lot of people say you shouldn't, but I think you should, because it's a cover plant and it also provides a nutritious berry for the animals to feed on. So there's a lot of springtime healing powers of nature available to us, both in the planting scheme and in the harvesting scheme. And also, the mushrooms will be coming up soon, the morels. Yep. There's going to be some leeks coming up. We got wild asparagus on our swamp in Michigan. So springtime is as exciting to me as the fall, and getting ready for the Adios Mofo last Uncle Ted flame-throwing A-10 Warthog soundtrack of rhythm and blues and rock and roll. My spirit and my batteries are being recharged with Mother Nature and God's miracle of the healing powers of spring. It's available to everybody, and everybody that already knows that, share that with your friends at church and school and the workplace and the barbecue and the bowling alley and the shooting range. The more time we spend outdoors healing with God's miracle, the better equipped we are with the armor of God to fight against the treachery and the evil as being perpetrated by an evil government and evil bureaucracies that just torch our tax dollars and abuse us, literally enslave Americans with policies that have nothing beneficial for mankind or the environment. We've gone into detail on that, but I'll say this, Adios Mofo. Thank you, nightly noogers out there. Let everybody know there's a nightly nooge where truth, logic, and common sense will fortify your spirit. There is a Ted Nugent Real America's Voice Spirit Campfire and a Shemaine Nugent Real America's Voice Faith and Freedom. I think you can get it at realamericasvoice.com. But truth, logic, and common sense is on the upswing, but we need all the people we can to support it. And if I may, it's available to everybody. There's no excuse. Don't watch the train wreck. Stop the train from wrecking. We the people can do that.
You know, beautiful, Ted. And the other thing I would say is support those organizations that are out there fighting for our hunting lifestyle. I'll name two tonight. Safari Club International. If you're not a member, you ought to be, because there's a lot of good people there doing a lot of good things. And then, of course, my favorite, Hunter Nation. Go to hunternation.org. Become part of the organization. Don't click the website and sign up for a hunt or something. Become a member, because they can only do the great things that they do because of your membership dollars and your donations. Ted, another great week. I can't wait to see what gets jacked up in our world coming up, so we can have more to talk about next week right here on The Nightly Nooch.
And if The Nightly Nooch has a battle cry, it looks like this at tednugent.com. Get you some.